Grace Point Daily Podcast. This is Jeremiah Johnson. I'm live from Antarctica. No, I'm really just in Southwest Missouri, but it's freezing cold like many places all across this country. My mom from Nebraska shoots me this pic of just inches and inches of snow in the good land of Nebraska where I'm from. So anyway, that's all right. We'll survive. I'm just all hunkered down here, snuggled up in my puffer jacket and hoodie and all that good stuff. Pray and Go. If you've been tracking with me, we're reading through the book Pray and Go, our local church, Grace Point. Or if you've listened to the past few podcasts, I encourage you to read this book called Pray and Go by Tom Rainer. It's giving a lot of simple challenges. One that I talked about was pray for the one, praying for one person in your life that needs Jesus. And today I read another one. It was like, invite one person to church. And he breaks down something that I don't have the book right in front of me, but I pulled up some other articles that I think are interesting, is that many people don't go to church or some, right? Again, we get into these stats just because they haven't been invited. And so he threw out a number that in his research from churchanswers.com, that if more people invited people to church, they would come. So I took that seriously, and the challenge was invite one person to church, which I did. But I want you to, I want you to think about this. I'm going to bounce over, pull this on the screen for you guys. And the first one was from HamiltonWinters.com. Don't really know anything about that, but I'm just giving you some various examples. Here's what they say. They say 82% of the unchurched are at least somewhat likely to attend church if invited. Only 2% of church members invite a single unchurched person to the church every year. Yep, you read that correctly. Only 2% of church members invite a single unchurched person to church every year. Listen, a lot of times as a pastor, I have people that are like, oh, the church we need more people in church, blah, blah. Well, here's one reality that's kind of convicting for us to think about is a lot of people don't come to church because we're not inviting them. And so I want to get you stirred up and I want to get you challenged to say, like, invite someone because they might come to church. And then bouncing back over to this website, 2 questions. If you're a church-going Christian, when is the last time you invited someone to church? And Rainer is posing that same thought as well. Number 2, if you're not a churchgoer or a Christian, when is the last time one extended you an invitation to attend? So maybe you're watching this video right now. You don't even go to church. Maybe you go to church online. You're not a Christian, whatever it might be. And I want to invite you to church. So I don't know if you live in Carthage, Missouri, and you can come to Grace Point, but I want you to come to Grace Point, especially because it'll be really good this Sunday, because I'm not speaking. Pastor Rachel is, and she's going to absolutely crush it. But I want to invite you to church. And if you don't live in Carthage, Missouri, or this area, then I want to encourage you, and I want to invite you to find an awesome church where you live in that area and go to it, okay? So this is the challenge, one simple challenge. Invite one person to church. Let me bounce over to another website. This is churchtrainer.com, all right? And I'll put this on the screen, those of you that are watching online, all right, that you can see this. Oh, let me move it over for you there. Okay, doing all this live. It says, every week I ask these 3 questions: pray, invite, bring. So this one's saying, what initially brought you to church? 68% walked in by their own initiative, and I've noticed that at the church that I pastor. A lot of people that just come in, Google, website. 2-3% like the program offered. That happens. People, I heard we have this thing called Royal Rangers Missionettes, a girls ministry. 8-10% like the pastor. I think that's true of our church. Only 8-10% of people like me at Grace. I'm just kidding. 3-4% had a need met by the church. 1-2 were evangelized. So yeah, all these things I've seen true in the life of the local church I'm at, in churches I've worked at. 3-4% attracted by Sunday school. That probably, it can happen. But look at this. Their big stat, 70-85% invited by a relative or friend. So what are we finding out here? Again, we're finding out that people come to church when they're invited. I mean, now we're going back in the day, okay, but I went to church. I am a Christian today. I want to tell you, why am I a Christian today? I am literally a Christian today because a kid named Nathan Keister, who's now a grown man like I am, invited me to that little Assembly of God youth group that was meeting at his house across the alley. That literally is the reason. If it wasn't for that invite, I would not be Christian today. I'm telling you, there's power in just simply inviting someone to church. So we can go on and on. There's another one here. I mean, you can Google this yourself if you guys want to, but there's another one I found here, Christian Standard. Just, again, it's going through the power of an invitation. But at the end of this one, I thought it was good is, sometimes TomRainer.com, Pray and Go book, he had listed out these reasons why church members don't invite others to church. I just don't think about it. I'm afraid I'll be rejected. Nobody ever challenged me to invite someone. I don't know how to start the conversation. It's the Spirit. The Spirit's job, not me to bring people to church. Other related reasons. And so here, I'm just agreeing with Tom Rainer. Most importantly, I'm agreeing with Jesus. Let's invite people to church. You're invited. You're invited to Grace Point. I know this is Facebook Live. I'm inviting you to Grace Point this Sunday, 10:30. You're like, oh, it's going to be really cold out. Just do what I'm doing now. See, I got the hoodie on, man. I got the puffer jacket. I'm all good. So, guys, we can't complain about people not being in church. We can't complain about people not responding to Jesus if we don't at least invite them. I mean, we need to do more than that. Share the gospel, pray, a host of other things. But let's start with the basic thing. Here it is. Go up to that person, friend, family member, shoot someone a text, DM. Hey, I personally want to invite you to come to church. Would you do that? And maybe we'll be surprised at who does. Grace Point Daily Podcast, Pray and Go book. That's an awesome book. Tom Rainer, Pray and Go. Check it out. I'll talk to you guys next time.